fulfilled its promise to become a new gateway to Asia, flying high with thousands of travelers impressed by Kansai's audacious engineering.
Well, I've been admiring the construction necessity, first to create the island and then to put all of this tremendous construction on it. It's a tremendous logistic challenge, I'm sure.
However, when the dust from this massive construction project finally settled, word began to spread that something else did too.
So the airport was sinking the islands, dropping into the water?
And dropping a little faster than planners had planned. During construction, the sand draining appeared to take care of strengthening the bay's first level of soft soil, helping to accelerate any potential sinking. But it would be the deeper stuff, the soil they couldn't drain, that would soon become a problem. That deeper stuff is called diluvium soil. Because there weren't any published reports about how that type of soil settles on the bottom of the sea, engineers had to try to estimate the degree of settling that would occur. By 1999, on Kansai's 5th birthday, it became apparent that the guesstimating was way off, as the entire island had already sunk over 8 meters, aging the airport 40 years ahead of schedule. The two major questions officials had to be asking themselves: would the sinking stop there? And what does all this business down below mean for the structures up above? Deep in the bowels of the high-tech terminal lies a somewhat low-tech solution to try and win the battle between Mother Nature and Father Time. To help save the structure from splitting at the seams, cracking under the pressure caused by uneven settling, engineers give a little lift to the 900 giant support columns that hold the terminal building up. It's a simple system you'll understand if you've ever changed a flat tire before. First, each column is equipped with a sensor that's connected to a computerized system. When the island shifts, the system signals where the power lifting must take place and technicians rush in. Next, hydraulic jacks, each capable of lifting 300 tons, are inserted between the floor and the column in question. Then, the huge support is lifted and metal plates are added, one at a time, to raise the height of the upper floors back to level once again. It's a delicate game of balance that's a little like sliding a book of matches underneath a wobbly table to keep your sake from spilling. When this jacking up procedure is done, the basement floor remains at the same level, while the first floor moves up. But when you raise the roof on a 2.7 million metric ton building, things in the basement might start to look a little strange. So steps were taken to keep things on the up and up, literally. For example, double walls were installed that hang from the first floor. When the floor is jacked up, the walls follow suit. Also in the basement, air conditioning ducts are bolted to the ceiling, not the floors, keeping wires and hoses from pulling apart as the building grows. Staircases from the first floor get an extra step or two added to the bottom. And on the first floor, passengers are probably not even aware these metal plates at the bottom of each escalator keeps them from tripping on the trippy change in levels. But just how long can this terminal continue to be propped up, defying the laws of gravity? If the whole island keeps getting lower, is the basement only one typhoon away from waves crashing in? According to Kansai officials, the soil settling is slowing down significantly. In turn, that means the uneven sinking is becoming much less frequent. In fact, airport engineers say the sinking has slowed to just 5 centimeters a year, as opposed to the 5 centimeters a month it declined during construction.
I believe that we've solved the problem, but you never know until it's done.
So the airport won't go down without a fight, even if Sir Isaac Newton may be in the other corner. But if the uneven settling isn't settled and continues to mess with the airport's foundation, forget about the buildings, what about the runway? Without it, there is no airport.
Since it's settling evenly, the entire runway is getting lower. But it's not a problem as long as it's flat. It's settling evenly and keeping the same angle, which is what matters. No problem at all.
It's not sinking that fast. So, they'll have the other runway up before this one's underwater. I'm not worried.
And so the secret's out. The Kansai engineering team is so confident in their triumph over the ocean, they're actually at it again, building a second island with a second runway. But before that fantasy island becomes a reality, how do passengers feel about the possibility of this runway being pulled out from underneath them?
We think we're confident in Japanese engineers that they'd have all that covered.
We're more concerned about, I think, earthquakes than the island actually sinking. And from what I hear, like all these it's structurally designed to prevent any major damage from earthquakes.
And actually, he's right. As if they weren't already on shaky ground, Kansai sits in the middle of that volatile vortex of natural disasters called the Pacific Rim of Fire, home to earthquakes, tidal waves, and some of the worst weather on the planet.
We have frequent typhoons and earthquakes in this country. Those factors were taken fully into consideration during the design phase.
And it's a good thing too, because in 1995, with the airport only open for 15 months, an earthquake measuring 7.2 on the Richter scale hit the nearby city of Kobe, the epicenter just 29 kilometers from the airport island.
We didn't have any glass damaged by the earthquake. We found some small cracks, but not the slightest bit of severe damage.
While the city of Kobe was devastated, the advanced structural design of Kansai's terminal building stood strong, perhaps proving to Kansai critics that all those ground preparations and propping up procedures might also be enough to keep the sinking at bay. And so Mother Nature works in mysterious ways, once more allowing Kansai to face the future, with heads held high and noses pointed towards the sky. The minute your plane puts tyres to the tarmac and rolls into the gate at Kansai International Airport, you begin to get an idea of the number of people it takes to keep this airport afloat. They say no man is an island, and in this case, neither is an airport, even if it's built on one. It takes a lot more than a village to keep Kansai running smoothly and safely. Kansai's unique location, smack dab in the middle of the ocean, means this island getaway needs to be totally self-sufficient, with an infrastructure more like a city than an airport. Each day, thousands of passengers pile onto this floating metropolis, becoming part of a round-the-clock rush hour.
It was quite a drive from downtown Osaka to get out here, but it's pretty amazing.
But because all roads don't lead to Kansai, actually just one, planners designed a myriad of mass transportation to bring both workers and passengers to the airport from all over Western Japan. It's a commuter's dream, and not a smelly cab in sight. Futuristic bullet trains like the Nankai Rapido move you in minutes to Osaka, traveling in style. Japan Railway's metro trains make several convenient stops for commuters who work at Kansai. High-speed ferries bring air travellers from Kobe across the bay. And let's not forget the luxury taxis or the over 20 limousine bus lines that serve Kansai.
It is convenient because I use every time this airport limousine to get from Kobe to here.
To keep an eye on all of these modes of transportation, Kansai's state-of-the-art traffic centre is armed with over 40 remote-controlled cameras. These omnipresent eyes enable officers to monitor and manage everything from traffic jams to emergency situations. But patrolling the roadways at Kansai is really a drop in the bucket compared to protecting the waterways around it. Kansai Airport is surrounded by vast miles of open sea that feed directly into the Pacific Ocean. To keep that secure, airport officials call in the big guns. The Japanese Coast Guard is on duty all day and all night. With their own airport outpost, Coast Guard search and rescue boats keep tabs on traffic in Osaka Bay. Akiyoshi Kabuki heads up the water patrol.
The area around the airport is a regular route for fishing boats. We also have pleasure boats with people enjoying their leisure time. If we spot a suspicious boat, our boat will immediately approach the vessel and will question the crew members over the loudspeaker.
And in an age with terrorists targeting aircraft, securing the sea is the Coast Guard's #1 priority.
9/11 was such a tragic event. Since the incident, we have tightened up our security against possible terrorist actions, but I can't disclose any major changes or details on that.
While the Japanese Coast Guard protects the airport and its precious cargo by sea, there are several other provisions to protect the airport on land. Every inch of the tarmac and terminal is captured on a huge network of security cameras. Special security officers surround an airplane while it's at the gate, never leaving the big gals alone. And the runway itself is draped in a high-tech security blanket of ultraviolet light that invisibly surrounds the perimeter. If this light beam is broken, security is alerted and called out to investigate the disturbance.
Japan Air 637 Hancho 310 alternate 280.
Observing from their perch high above the runway, Kansai's air traffic control operators take command, securing the friendly skies, making sure they stay that way with a 360-degree view of things above and below.
The height of this control tower is decided to be able to see every parking place.